Well, hi there. It is Saturday, mid-afternoon, I guess. It is the 28th of September, journal number 181 and T plus 179. Got all messed up yesterday. Had a great day. Went down to the City of Hope, sat in on a patient family advisory council meeting and made a short presentation about about myself and had an interview actually had a job interview really uh, with a gentleman who had been a human resources professional for many years and it was perhaps the most enjoyable, if that's really conceivable, um, interview that I think I've ever had. It was more like having coffee with a friend than it was like being interviewed for an important position um, on a council that has a very important role to play in the operations and daily interaction of the City of Hope with, you know, all of the stakeholders involved, but particularly patients and family. And he asked me a question, and I've been sort of struggling, agonizing over what to talk about this morning, um, because I'm still rolling back and forth through the entire event of yesterday, the events of yesterday, and the meeting. The meeting was particularly difficult, not because of the meeting, but because there was another person that was asked to make a presentation as well, and uh, it was deeply moving because he was talking about the experience that his son had when he was 8 years old and diagnosed with um, acute lymphocytic leukemia and the battle for his life that followed. I don't think there was a dry eye in the room, including me. Um, so yesterday was exhausting. That coupled with the ride out there and the traffic on the way back, it was a long day, and there was plenty to think about, which was actually a blessing in some respects because I tend to do my best thinking while I'm driving. But one of the questions that I was asked during the interview was perhaps the central question, and that was, why do you want to be on the council? And that got me, obviously, I have my own reasons for that. I mean, they start and end with the sense of gratitude and obligation and opportunity that I have to give something back, that I want to give something back, and everything in between. And while I was sitting here thinking about what we were going to talk about today, it occurred to me that question of why is so critically important. I think one of the most profound experiences I've ever had was watching a TED talk by a gentleman named Simon Sinek. Uh, that was the precursor of his book, Start With Why. And it's primarily for business owners um, and professionals, and talks at great length about the importance of what your why is and how most companies fail to recognize the singular, most important aspect of their business when it comes to interacting with internal customers and external customers, the world around them, is their why. Why do they do what they do? And the companies that understand that are the companies that generally become exponentially more successful, more profitable. And the TED Talk is amazing. I if you haven't ever seen it, I really recommend that you take the couple of minutes out and watch it. Aside from the fact that Sinek is a really good presenter, the material in it is eye opening. It's really amazing stuff. But in his golden circle, in the center of the circle is the why you do what you do, and on the outside of the circle is the what and the how you do it. Um, and I guess what I've been working on subconsciously, perhaps, but working on even consciously, is how this spills over into real life, um, into everyday life for all of us, not just business owners, not just managers, not just marketers. Although, as I said the other day, and marketing is everything and everything is marketing, um, we're all marketing all the time. Um, but this idea of why um, is at the central core of what motivates us to do anything that we do. And I just went through that. I mean, literally just went through that minutes ago, trying to think about what we were going to do today and thinking about how I was going to do it, how I was going to make that happen, and not really thinking about the why as much as I probably should have been. And these questions are important, and I'm dealing with, and maybe I'm so focused on this right now because I'm dealing with the marketing aspects uh, of Misfire, the book that we just completed. You know, what to do when things aren't running on all cylinders, and while the how and the what are really important about the things that we need to do, we have to stop and keep reminding ourselves about what the why is, why we're doing it. Um, and if my why was just to sell books, it would be a much different approach than we're taking. But my why is really to go ahead and make an impact on the experience and the lives of other people by enriching that experience with the tools and the technology they need to achieve their goals and objectives and accomplish the success that all of us are looking for. Um, I believe the problem is always defining it, narrowing it down. We were having a discussion in the car on the way out to the City of Hope yesterday. A friend and I, both of whom were on the committee, my friend Brett, and he said, you've only got a box that's like this big. You've got this little tiny box, um, and it's got room in it for only the kernel of an idea. In this case, he was talking about numbers. It's only got room in it for a number. So give me a number. In life, it's the same thing. You've got this really small box, and you have only so much room for what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. I'm doing what I'm doing to enrich and improve the lives of others through my own knowledge and experience, and I did that through writing a book. And you got to keep reminding yourself about that. I take a chunk of time out of every day to accomplish this blog, and I do it for a number of reasons. But one of the central reasons is to more deeply engage with my feelings, with my wants, needs, and expectations. A good friend, a dear friend of mine, sent me a Flannery O'Connor quote that suggested, actually, the quote stated that I write to see what I know. And to a large degree, that's true. And I think that the blog is an indication of that. I create the blog and I invest time in the blog to get more deeply in touch with what I think and what I know. So I know I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and perhaps it would be just a moment out of your life to stop and think about it as well. You know, what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why is it important to you? You know, the what and the how you can figure out as long as you know what the why is. Um, but if you don't know what the why is, the what and the how are almost irrelevant. So something to think about. I know I am, and I would be really interested in what your thoughts are on that. What is your why? Have you found it? Are you in touch with it? And it doesn't have to be just about what's in business. You know, realistically, that why is just as important in family life as it is in business. It's just as important in um, my finding the truth in misfire, or the reason that I joined the Patient Family Advisory Council at the City of Hope. Um, but I will suggest one thing to you that's really critically important, and that is that the rational answers to these questions, the empirical answers to these questions, are meaningless. Um, and I know you're saying to yourself, well, why did you just go through 10 minutes of explaining all this stuff if it's meaningless? What's really important is that you're in touch with the emotional context of that why, because it is your emotional mind, it is your prehistoric brain, it is the amygdala that's going to ensure that you move closer toward those goals and objectives, and isolating and identifying what that why is, and then following through to make it a reality by executing the what and the how. Um, you know where to find me if you have any questions, but I'd really be thrilled if you'd share your experiences, your thoughts, your feelings about this. All right, in the meantime, stay well, take care, and I'm signing off.